You are listening to the Motherhood Unstressed podcast, and I'm your host, Liz Carlisle. Welcome back. Welcome to a fresh week. I am so glad that you're here. And if this is the first time that you're tuning in, well, you picked a good one because I'm speaking with the incredible Alexa and Carlos PenaVega. And you probably know them best from their roles in Spy Kids, Nickelodeon's Big Time Rush, Dancing with the Stars, and most recently their new film, Mighty Oak, which starts streaming July 7th on Amazon Prime and Apple TV. And in this episode, we discuss how they prioritize their marriage above all else, the importance of their Christian faith in navigating the difficult waters of raising a family while working in the entertainment industry, and how they remain focused and grounded for their two children throughout it all. And I think sometimes when we look at Hollywood actors, we don't necessarily see them as human. And of course, that's just a huge fallacy, and they are. And I just love how Alexa and Carlos got really real with, what it's like to have a marriage, have little ones, be working in this industry, and that, not only to just survive and stay married, but to be happy and to make sure that they're doing the best for their family and to really make their family their priority. And especially in today's world, I think that that's so needed. So I'm so appreciative of their honesty, their authenticity, and I just know you're going to love this episode and get a lot out of it. So if you do, please share it with a friend and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And of course, tag us if you're listening to this while you're out walking your dog, cleaning, or whatever you're doing. Tag us at Motherhood Unstressed on Instagram so I can share it back out. So I hope you enjoy this episode with Alexa and Carlos PenaVega. This episode is sponsored by Swanson Health. Swanson Health has been producing quality vitamins and supplements, foods, healthy home, and self-care products for over 50 years, since 1969, from the heart of America. Swanson Health is the only company to offer the full spectrum of wellness products for mind, body, and home. From quality vitamins and supplements to cruelty-free beauty items to eco-friendly home products, Swanson Health is here to keep you healthy. Swanson Health only supports products they're proud to use and give to their own families, backing everything by strict quality standards with the Swanson Quality Code. Swanson brand vitamins and supplements are crafted in the United States and made with unsurpassed purity and potency. Swanson Health carries over 20,000 wellness products at a great value. Pick up all of your favorite health products, plus discover new ones for your wellness routine, all while leaving money in your pocket. Now, if you want to try any of Swanson Health's great products for yourself, use code MOTHER20 for 20% off on swanson.com. This episode is brought to you by the Homeschool Buyers Co-op. And what is that exactly? Well, it's the world's largest buyers club for homeschooling families. Founded in 2005, they're a family-owned and operated business dedicated to providing top-quality curriculum at the lowest price possible. And the best news yet, it's completely free to join. But if you use my referral code MOTHERHOOD, you automatically get 5,000 points, which translates to cash to buy anything that you would like on the website. And basically, school districts get discounts, they have buying power, but rarely do homeschooling families have that kind of clout. And so by joining a co-op, you automatically get entered into that. You are part of that community. Their website for you is homeschoolbuyersco-op.org. Again, use my referral code, check it out. As someone who struggled with doing virtual learning last spring due to COVID, I have definitely been checking out some other options, and yes, that includes homeschooling. And so being a part of a co-op where you actually have buying power is essential if that's the route you want to go. Well, hello, Alexa and Carlos. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here.
We are happy to be here.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just going to dive right in with a question. I know a lot of actors in the business say they kind of just stumbled into it. Was that the case for you?
Yeah, I think for sure, Alexa, go ahead.
When I was 4, my mom's best friend snuck me into an audition and I ended up getting the job. So I was always that little kid who was performing and jumping up on tables and like dancing and singing. And I think I was always destined to be in this industry one way or another, but just how it happened, I did fall into it, but it was perfect timing.
What about you, Carlos?
I actually, I always wanted to be an actor, or like Broadway was my dream. And maybe I'll still do it one day. But when I was about 17, 18 years old, I sent in a tape to audition for this Nickelodeon boy band, and I got it. So, I guess I wouldn't say I fell into it, but it was definitely like you hear stories and tapes, like nobody wants to make tapes anymore because they're like, no one's going to watch it. They watched my tape and I got it. So to me, that's just, it's crazy.
Yeah. And have you felt like, you've both have had successful careers. Do you feel like when you were in it, you were, on the right path, doing what you were supposed to do? Did you ever have a moment where you're like, maybe I shouldn't do this?
I don't know. It's all I've ever known. And it is, me and Carlos were actually talking about it the other day. It is such a part of my identity that I actually have to learn to try to separate it more. I've just always been in this industry. So it's just such a part of my life that now I think the biggest thing for us was moving here so that we actually have a break from the industry, because it tends to take over your life. But I've just always I've had such a great time. I've really enjoyed it. I don't have those horror stories. It's been really good to me personally.
And by here, she means that we live on Maui.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah. About 3 years ago, I just I kind of just had it with LA, and I said, "Babe, can we please move?" And she said, "Where do you want to move to?" And I was like, "You're gonna think I'm crazy." I said, "Maui."
This place is amazing.
And she was like, "All right, let's do it." And I specifically remember I left the house to go to the gym, and I sat in my car and I was like, did she just say yes? Did my wife just say yes?
He literally walked
back
into the house.
So I came back inside and I said, "Hey, can you just say it one more time? Because if you do, like, if this is for real, I'm going to get in the car and start making some calls, and we're going to sell the house and we're going to go." And I'm going 100%. And she said, "Yes, let's move to Maui." I got in the car. I called our friend who's a realtor. I said, "Let's sell the house. We're moving."
Yeah.
Wow. Now, is that something that's always kind of been in your relationship? Because I'm always curious, talking to couples, what makes your relationship work really, really well? Like, it seems like Alexa's down for whatever, really supportive. Is that always been the case?
For the most part.
We do everything as a team. We really believe that, marriage is super important. And we feel strongly about, continuing to put out a positive light on marriage, because people, and especially in our industry, on the West Coast, marriage is such this don't get married, don't have kids, don't do anything. And, there's something so beautiful about having two people become one.
Well, we both also come from divorced homes, and we saw the impact that had, but our parents did such a great job considering, the situation. I'm one of 7, he's one of 4. And that can be super tough on kids. But I think for us, when we met up, because we came from that, we're like, okay, how do we avoid that? How do we make it better for our kids? And honestly, Carlos was trying to get me to move to Maui for so long. And it wasn't until right after I gave birth to our first kid, Ocean, that I'm like, we can't raise him out here. I don't want to do that. I was born in Florida. We lived on a ranch. I was running around outside, riding horses. I wanted more of that kind of lifestyle for our kids. And so did Carlos. And we just thought, you know what, this is the perfect time, the perfect excuse to just leave LA.
I find that happens with so many parents, especially mothers. When you have your first child, it's like everything gets reprioritized. You see things so differently than you ever did, even when you were pregnant.
Oh, yeah. There's a whole new, it's like a different door has opened up, and you walk through, and it's just a whole new lens. I even, we both met at Bible study. We're Christian, and it just kind of opened up this door, even with how I view God. And it was really, really beautiful. It helped me grow in my faith. It helped us grow in our marriage. Sure, yes, there are definitely testing times because you're getting less sleep. You're learning how to be a parent, and there isn't a manual that works overall for every child. But I think in that, we were able to just there's this fantastic moment where now at this point we have 2 kids. they're both throwing a fit. Like both are having little tantrum meltdowns. And we had just come off of a like 14-hour work day.
Oh my God.
And we're like sitting in the kitchen and they're like screaming. And he literally just grabs me and we hugged for like 2 solid minutes, which is a really long time. But he just held me in the kitchen and it's actually
and we laughed.
We were laughing.
We were
and
laughing.
like kind of crying, but it was one of my favorite moments because even though it was completely chaotic, we had each other and we weren't going to let anything tear away that joy that we had created.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. That's really, I mean, and I have heard that children of divorced parents, they do prioritize marriage. They don't get married lightly. You know, they really do their homework first. So in your courtship, was it a long process? Did you have?
No, you know, I think I personally, I really, like, I've been a relationship
junkie.
Like junkie. Like, I mean, I love having, what do they call it? Codependent. Very codependent. But when I met Alexa, you know, it's like what they say in the movies. You just know. I mean, I knew. We spent a few hours together, and then I remember she was driving in front of me, and we went on this. She doesn't call it a date, but it was a date. 3-hour adventure. Let's call it an adventure.
We went on an adventure.
We went to Menchie's. We hung out the night.
It's a yogurt spot.
Yeah, yogurt spot.
Yeah, I know it. I know it. I know my yogurt.
So Menchie's for like 2 hours.
Yeah, we just couldn't stop talking.
And then we went to this, like, you know, a trampoline place to jump around. And then we drove to the Santa Monica. Oh no, then we drove to our friend's house, ended up going to the wrong house. And when we knocked on the door, we were like, "What's up?" And it was a wake for their neighbor. Like, dude, it was terrible.
This actually happened.
And they said, "Hey, you know what? It's okay. It would have been her birthday today, and she would have loved this celebration." And we were like, "Okay, we're so sorry."
Nicer. They were so nice considering.
But then we ended our night at the Santa Monica Pier until like midnight playing arcade games. And I remember at one moment, because we were in 2 cars, we were just friends, right? So she was driving in front of me, and I literally told myself, I said, "I'm gonna marry that girl."
Wow.
And I remember I was on the 405 before the Balboa exit. We were stuck in all that traffic going down there, and I was like, "I'm gonna marry that girl." I just knew. Or I was very obsessive, and I was like, "I'm gonna marry."
No, I don't know, because I've heard like multiple guy friends, you know, who are now married have told me that they had the same thought. It's never like the woman who's like, "I'm going to marry that man." It's always the man who seems to know the right woman for him and who he wants to have his children. I know this sounds very woo, but like I keep hearing it again and again and again. Why do you think that is?
Because we've gone through so many bad relationships. We're like, "This is a good one. It checks off all the boxes. Don't let her go. Don't let her go."
You know, I wish we could know the answer. Yeah. It was just like almost like instinct kicks in, like the same way this mom instinct kicks in. I feel like suddenly, like, I don't want to say dad vibes appear, but it's like, okay, that's the one, because we can have a family and I won't.
It works.
She won't annoy me.
Yeah.
But it's funny because Carlos, I say it's so cheesy, but he's everything I never knew I wanted. Yeah. Like if you looked at my no list, and even my best friend Brene, like she was just like, he is not her type at all. She told, so our mutual friend Andrew, he's the one who introduced us, and he always said, "You guys are perfect for each other."
Wow.
But the timing just never worked out. And she was just laughing. She's like, she only likes tall white boys. This is the exact opposite of everything she's ever dated or been with.
And not actors.
No. So my whole list,
yeah.
No actors, no one in the industry. I come from an absolutely wild and crazy Colombian family. I don't know if you spent time around Colombian families, but we're crazy. So I was like, no Hispanic boys at all. I have enough of that in my life. They cannot be short. I'm short. They need to be tall. I mean, all these things, but I got myself a 5'7" Latino man.
Persistent.
Who is an actor and a singer.
Oh, well, and fast forward, years later, he's hugging you in the kitchen and it's one of your favorite memories. Like that means something.
Oh my gosh, this is my teammate.
And going back to what you say, I think that's what makes our marriage work is that we do treat it as a team. You know, we both have our roles in our team. You know, sometimes I'm playing offense and sometimes she's playing defense. Most of the time she's the coach, right? but any good coach will allow their star player to think that he's making all the decisions, but really the coach is behind it.
Oh my gosh.
But we really do treat it like that. I mean, moving here, we were told that our careers were never they were just going to die, because who's going to want to fly anybody out and this and that. And we put our marriage and our family first. And let me tell you, since we moved here, we have not stopped working. I mean, there have been enough opportunities to keep us here and to keep us happy and keep us healthy. And we made a decision from day one. We said, we're never going to work at the same time on two separate projects that will split the family up.
Yeah, the kids need both parents.
It's happened once and it was like a week, and that's okay. But it's like, if she's somewhere for 6 weeks and I'm somewhere for 6 weeks, like, then why did we get married? Why did we have kids to just, split it up? And there are certain circumstances that, people have jobs that take them away and this and that. And that's fine. But I think if it becomes a routine and that becomes the normal, it really affects that, family dynamic.
Well, I also think this industry is so particular because it's like summer camp. You're in close quarters when you're on set with these people. And I think in that, it's very easy. Like, you see all the set romances that happen. There's so much flirting. So many lines get blurred. And what we just value our relationship so much, but also we want to value the importance of, you guys, we're at work.
Yeah.
This is work. We can all still have fun, but I think it can be a dangerous place for a marriage. And that's why you see so many marriages not last in this industry. So for us, when we prioritize that, but when we also make sure that we are there for one another, I think it just helps you from falling short.
Yeah. I feel like you guys are the Olympians of marriage, because you are in such like a hotbed of impropriety and things that can happen. Like, you really are like the top athletes.
Well, when we did Dancing with the Stars,
we learned a lot.
I'm so glad that we did it together, because I can't imagine being the husband at home. And it's like, look, it means nothing to most, hopefully. To me, it doesn't mean anything. Like, you're like doing all these dances and you're getting close with your partner.
I mean, it's very intimate.
But it's like, it's not normal. Like, a husband doesn't go to work and does salsa with another girl, getting all close.
Like grindy.
And then come home. And then it's like, hey, babe, like we're all human. That is going to do something to you emotionally, physically. Like, you're just going to, like, we all have feelings, right?
Yeah. It's a weight. It comes with a weight.
So thankfully we're both doing it together, and, both of us realize, okay, wow, this doesn't mean anything. But if I was at home and I knew that she was going every single day and doing these 9 and 10 hour dance days with this, guy and doing this and shirt off in rehearsal, I'd be like, I'm gonna kill somebody. So it's like, these emotions need to be dealt with. And I just think that was such a testing time for our marriage, because even though we were both in it, we still had a lot of ups and downs and figuring things out.
It was a hard show to do.
But I see that and I go, we did that together. Imagine all these couples, doing these movies separately, doing Dancing with the Stars separately.
Oh yeah.
Like these like reality shows, like when they leave for 6 months, I mean, the marriage gets destroyed. The relationship gets destroyed.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm sure you have friends that like are in open relationships and things like that. Was that something that you guys never wanted to consider?
No, not at all. I mean, it's not something I know we personally don't believe in that. We think that our marriage is a really, really beautiful thing. And when two people come together and they can create this beautiful family, I think for even our kids, the last thing we would ever want to do is confuse them. And I know it's going to sound so corny, but I don't look, and I don't know if this is just because I'm a girl, but like, I can't look at other people and I don't have this attraction. I can tell you that somebody's good looking, but there isn't this like, wow, he's hot. Like, I don't have that. Like, it sounds so cheesy and corny, but I genuinely only have eyes for my husband.
You only got hots for me.
I only got hots.
Wow, okay.
But I will say, I think that it is a not just like, oh, I've made this decision. It's a trained mindset. Like this sounds super silly, but there was a time when Carlos in the past before me, he smoked a whole lot of weed, like a whole ton of weed. And he goes, when he quit, he would still have that craving and he still wanted it. But after time and the more and more he was diving into his faith and the more we grew in our relationship, he just doesn't want it. And the craving is gone. And I think that's something that we had to train our minds in so many different areas of our lives to just no longer crave other people or crave that feeling of, oh, what if, I wonder, because our industry is so dangerous. And I think even though a lot of people think flirting is super innocent, it comes with a weight and you don't realize what it's doing to you emotionally when you're on set all day long and you're flirting with a boy, you think it's nothing. And then you come home, you carry that weight with you back home and it's going to affect your relationship.
Well, I mean, temptation is real. I mean, in all facets of life.
Yeah.
So, if you stock your pantry with a bunch of crap that you don't want to eat,
Doritos,
you're going to eat it because it's there. One day you're going to break. But if you don't stock your pantry,
you don't have that option.
You have no option. It's the same thing with like Instagram and all this stuff. Like I, talked to, friends of mine who their marriage is on the rocks because they, are looking at stuff. And I'm like, well, like, what are you looking at? I'm like, well, then get off Instagram. Like, don't give yourself that out.
Don't give yourself that candy.
Yeah. But for real, I mean, we have some stuff in our pantry that, I like chips. I love chips. I love chips. If they weren't in the pantry, I wouldn't eat them. But, at 1:00 when I want a little snack and I go in the pantry and I'm like, healthy chips, I go for the chips.
Yeah.
And, it's again, it's a trained, like, okay, cool. I can't, like, you, what's the word? You have to be intentional. Like intentional. I don't want to do this. I value this. So I'm going to stop.
Yeah. And this is why you're the Olympic athletes of marriage.
We didn't get the gold last week. So.
Oh, yeah, okay. No, but I think that's true. And like being in quarantine too, like everyone's been home with their significant others, with their kids, like, for a while now. So it's like everything that's kind of was brushed under the rug is like, I think coming out, so if you don't do the work, you don't communicate right. Like,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. We had 3, but last
No, I mean, so that leads to my next question. Like, what do you guys do to kind of stay sane during this crazy time? You've got the kids at home, you're working and like promoting and things like that. How do you keep balance? Do you have a morning routine? What do you do?
Well, first, I just want to say, I don't think it's fair because we are so blessed. Like we live on this awesome property on an island. So the kids get to run around outside. We get to go to the beach and go swimming. We get to do things that like our hearts, and Carlos always says this, our hearts go out to the parents who are in apartment buildings who are trying to like run kids up and down stairs. Like I cannot imagine with our 2 boys who are wild and have so much energy being stuck in this small space to where they couldn't go outside in the backyard and run around and play in the dirt. I mean, dirt is important. Dirt is healthy, Yes. So I want to start it off by like, we are just beyond blessed that it looks very different for us.
Our current circumstance, it's a lot easier than most.
We have created a routine.
And now a quick break with a word from our sponsor. This episode is sponsored by Smart for Life. The Smart for Life program is a healthy way for quick and safe weight loss. By following the program correctly, you can burn 3,500 calories or 1 pound every 2 days. It was created by Dr. Sasson, who's a bariatric physician with over 20 years of experience. The Smart for Life diet can help you lose weight the healthy and sustainable way. And so what happens on this diet? Well, you get to eat cookies, but they're not just regular cookies. It's 5 to 6 cookies that you eat throughout the day with a glass of water, and they're full of protein and fiber, and they're low in sugar. So it's everything that your body needs to be healthy without all of the other junk. And if you're not a fan of cookies, I don't know how that could be, but some people aren't. They also have delicious soups and shakes. So this is a very effective diet to help you lose weight if you have been struggling and nothing is budging and you're looking for something new and safe and actually healthy to do that. So head over to smartforlife.com and check out their program today.
Yeah, her dad recently he just left on Monday, but he was living with us for 2.5 years, and that gave a nice buffer of like, hey, we need 2 hours to go upstairs and make our bed, which we haven't made in a week. And, she's like, I got to put some makeup on and just feel good.
I just want to feel good for a second.
Good.
Yeah.
But since Monday, I'd say that we're starting this. I kind of feel like our parents just dropped us off at college, and like we have our own apartment, and we get to make our own rules. We don't have to whisper. We can play our video games, and we can and be as loud as we want. And we're starting this new thing where like our roles have kind of shifted in terms of like, hey, I see all that you do, and I see where I can help you out, and vice versa. So we're developing like a nice, we're all going to get up in the morning together versus, hey, you know what? If the baby, gets up, you get up, I'll get up with the next kid. And then we'll take 2 hours. No, hey, listen, let's all get up together. Let's all have this time together in the morning. Let's have breakfast. And then I'll watch the kids. You go get ready, and then we'll flip flop. Yeah. So it's, I think it's just constantly changing this, this.
Well, because you go through seasons.
Right.
I really love, before my dad left for like, I think 3 months, we did this. We would wake up in the morning and he would give us the 2 hours. So we'd come back up and we would pray together. We would read together. But what was awesome is we would just even talk about like things that have been going on in our hearts. We'd be like, okay, how's your heart? Like, what is your heart feeling right now? We would just talk about goals. We would talk about things that we want to do in the house or with the family, or just, what the week had in store for us. So just having that time that's not chaotic, but just us alone was super, super helpful and beneficial. And I am sad in a way that we only took the last few months to do that, because we've grown so much in those few months, just taking that time with one another. Like it wasn't like this like big conversation that lasted. It was just time to reconnect together, because the kids.
I just feel like once you have kids, like, do couples talk anymore? Like really, just
it's hard.
Talk?
It's hard.
It's hard.
You got the kids, and then you got jobs, and you got work, and you're constantly going this, and then then you get in bed at night, and you're like, oh, we did it. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, I love you. Bye. Good night.
I have an unpopular opinion, and we both live by it, and that is, we love our children, but our marriage comes first, because if we're not working well together, then our kids are also going to fall apart. So
they feel it. They feel the energy.
They feel it. Then as a team, we're not working well together to be able to help run our household, because it's like a job and we have to keep order. So for us, we have to prioritize our relationship so that we can be the best parents for our kids. And I really feel like that has done so well for us, because we've seen in other relationships where, and people that I love and care about so much, will like put their kids first, and they think they're doing the right thing, but then their marriage is suffering like so badly, and then they're miserable and unhappy, and that's hard.
But the kids are happy.
Maybe on the surface, I don't know.
Right, not inside.
But the kids feel it, and it's hard.
Yeah.
Watch, and it sounds counterproductive, right? That to be the best parents, like that you actually have to put your kids second to your marriage, but it's not. It makes it so much more. I don't know. It just makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. I think that's an opinion that should be put out more. I'm so glad you just said that, because it is. It's like for the mother who doesn't engage in self-care, when she first has a baby, and then she falls apart, and no one's taking care of the baby, right? So it's like
guilty of that, 100%.
It's so normal, and it's not healthy. So I love that you guys are really the proponents of that. And so I'm curious, we're talking about marriage, talking about relationships, but I also want to talk about your new film. What drew you to working on this project? What was it about the story that drew you to signing on?
Wow. Sean McNamara, who's the director, who's done so many movies. I mean, we're the corny people who love like the heartfelt, good vibes.
I think right now specifically too, it's just feel-good movies. It's so nice to have feel-good movies, and they're I feel like that was all in the 90s. You got all the feel good 90s movies and early 2000s. And then after that, it just became like
sexual,
raw, gritty films. And listen,
there's some great ones. Yeah.
Some amazing art house films. That's fantastic. But we just wanted something that felt good, but also, gosh, the characters are awesome. Yeah. Sean is a genius with how he works. He's just a great director. There's zero ego. He loves collaboration. He wants to make sure that you feel included in the process and that you're happy with the way the movie's working out. So this was really a collaboration.
Well, and it wasn't like, hey, you're actors, just come on board and play the role. They said, read the script. If you want to do it, let's bring you on board as like executive producers. Let's change whatever you want to change. Let's make this together. And as an actor, it never happens. Like nobody ever. Like,
usually just a monkey.
Very few. Exactly. Very few times has that happened to us. And the fact that both of us could be in it, and they were so welcoming to like us bringing our kids to set and this, and they even helped us like find a nanny for a few days. Like it was such a family effort. And in terms of the story, it's funny. Personally, we don't believe in reincarnation, but
I think what's interesting is you can look at it from all different perspectives. I'll just kind of explain it. Gina loses her brother. They're in this band and they end up getting in this car accident. And Gina, played by Janelle Parrish, loses her brother. And, we're 10 years later and all of a sudden this little kid who's a prodigy, he can play guitar, he can sing, he's absolutely incredible, which by the way, Tommy Reagan in real life
can just shred.
Unreal. This kid he's not 10 years old. He's like a 50-year-old trapped in a 10-year-old's body. But she sees this kid and she's convinced that this is her brother reincarnated. But for other people, he stands as a symbol of hope. I play Tommy's mom. And I am actually super sick in the movie and I'm actually dying and we don't know what's going to happen to me. So many things are up in the air and he's trying to help me. But for me, he is a symbol of hope for the mother. And I think also for your character, he's like a fresh start to your band.
It was perfect because so I play, I guess the love interest to Gina. And my character and her, we are on complete opposite sides. Like I'm like, you're crazy. That he's definitely not, a reincarnate of your brother. He's just talented. And look how amazing he's going to bring our band back together. And she's like, no, yes, that's all good. But this is my brother. And
because that's what she needs to heal.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just it's this awesome story, but there's so many different sides of it. And I love that. Regardless of what we believe, like we were still able to play these characters and, like play them truthfully. Right. Yeah. I think that's super important. And the story is it's so great. Sean does such a good job with the music. Tommy, how old's Tommy again?
I think he's 12 now.
He's young. He wrote all the music.
That's incredible.
All the music for the movie. This 12-year-old kid, he might even be younger. I don't even know. It's like I've never written, music. He wrote all the music for the movie. And, we did an interview the other day and they asked him, they said, hey, do you mind playing the song? Cool. So all of us sat there with our phones, we were joking and the kid sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I'm like, the fact that there are kids like this in the world, it gives me hope for the younger generation because this time that we're in right now, it's just scary.
We're all looking down at our phones all day long.
Well, no, but I'm just saying, like in general, the climate of the world is scary, and you're seeing like a lot of confused people, and like
I think it's just hurt a lot of angry kids, and I honestly think a lot of that has to do with social media because I've watched my siblings and how they deal with comparing themselves. I'm the oldest. So when I see them comparing themselves to other people on social media, like most of these people for sure are showing their best selves. Very rarely are they
1,000%.
The real raw moments. And now that we're, in our 30s, we have a better grasp on going, okay, that is not important. We're emotionally in a place where we can, I think for the most part, deal with stuff like that. But when you're 15 years old, 12 years old, emotionally, you have no idea how to deal with that. It's overwhelming. And I think that's what's happening to a lot of the younger kids. They're incredibly overwhelmed emotionally because they don't know how to deal with that kind of baggage, I guess, in a way.
Yeah. I mean, they talk about like the prefrontal cortex doesn't even develop fully until you're like 22 years old. So you can't even process emotions or handle it like an adult would.
Oh my gosh, Carlos. No, okay, real fast. I'll try to make this story real short. They did this experiment with these rats, and basically they put they had two boxes and put a piece of cheese in the middle of both boxes. And with one rat or mouse, the normal one would go along the edges and then run quickly to grab the cheese in the middle and immediately run back to the edge, because he knows that something can come down and get him easier if he's in the middle versus if he's along the edges, he's safe. Now the other one, they played the TV for an hour, just like images flashing like crazy on the TV. And the rat was actually watching it. Mm-hmm. And then they put a piece of cheese in the middle. And he went berserk. Like he was hanging out in the middle, just kind of running everywhere. All his natural instincts went away because the images were it was just too much for the rat to be able to handle that. That's actually what happens to us. We no longer, all our instincts go out the window. We're so consumed by everything that's happening with the scrolling, the swiping. We don't realize the effect that it's happening, that it has on us. And our instincts are just like, we suddenly become susceptible to the things that we could be protecting ourselves from. So it was just a really interesting rat experiment.
No. Listen, I agree. I mean, how many times, and I guess I could speak for a lot of people in this world, have you picked up a magazine and been like, oh, let me just zoom into that. And you're like, oh,
yeah.
This is not an iPad. This is not an iPad.
Crazy.
I mean, our son who's 3, he's like, Mommy, can I see your iPad? I'm like, oh my gosh.
And like, I know that that's the future anyway. Everything's going to be like magazines, all this stuff. It's going to be obsolete. Like everything will be on tablets or iPads or whatever it may be. So, I don't want to be like, okay, don't learn how to use the iPad. But at the same time, we do have to protect ourselves because it really does have an impact on us.
We've actually seen a difference in our 3-year-old's behavior after we did a test. No, I'm just kidding.
Was there cheese involved?
Yeah, there was cheese and a television. There was one day, I forget, that we were super busy, and he had his tablet and his favorite show, Octonauts, on the TV, and he was literally it was kind of like an all day thing. I think we were doing something at press or whatever it was, and he was just an angry kid the whole day.
And he was wild.
He couldn't process when something would go wrong. It wasn't like, oh, I can fix this. And then the next day,
because his mind never got a break.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then we took it away completely and let him kind of shed all that for a whole day. And that third day, he was a different kid. He was processing, oh, I just dropped this. Mommy, can you help me fix this? Please come here. Yes, Daddy. I was like, oh my gosh, this is a whole different kid.
Yeah.
So now, we found a balance of like how much he can actually have. Mm-hmm. Right. And I think that's super important with like any kid, but
even with us as adults.
Right.
But I mean, how easy is it to give your kid a tablet and say,
I have so much work to do. Just take this.
Right. I mean, I think we're all guilty of that. And it's like, it's crazy because like I have 2 boys too and experienced the exact same thing. We had to take away the iPad and hide it. And there was still like a day where they wanted it and they were still fiending for it. And I was like,
it's a residual. Yeah.
It's crazy. But,
third day.
And Apple is like, success, we did it.
They're just like, this is too easy.
There are some really good apps where our kid has learned so much. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to just dog it because it can be an excellent tool.
Yeah. I mean, YouTube, he was doing the YouTube numbers for like in the beginning, like 1.5,
Yeah, he
1
knew
years
all
old.
his letters, ABCs.
Lex
he could
would
count to 20.
She would literally put all the YouTube numbers on. 1, 2, 3, whatever. And we were just like, so you're eating breakfast. And it's like, 45 bananas, whatever it was. And, but you know what? He was counting to 50, before 2 years old.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So it's like, it's like, where's the balance of like, well, that's really like, I wouldn't have spent that many hours going, 2 bananas, 3 bananas. No way.
Alexa was out riding horses, so on.
Yeah, right.
But I know you have to scoot to another interview, so I just want to end with some rapid fire questions really
Okay,
quick.
awesome.
Perfect.
Happiness is?
A choice.
I was going to say joy.
There are no wrong answers.
Okay, perfect.
I'm grateful for?
My wife.
My family.
And last one, what's something that you've learned in life that you wish someone would have told you earlier on?
Things don't matter.
It's not a race.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so where can the listener find more about the movie Mighty Oak and find you online on Instagram?
Okay, so Mighty Oak, is this airing before July 7th?
Yes, I'm going to fast track it for you.
Okay, perfect. So Mighty Oak is going to be streaming on Apple TV and Amazon Prime starting on July 7th. So we're super excited because sometimes these small movies don't get out there. I mean, Lex has done movies in the past that didn't even get seen by anyone. So the fact that we are going to be on streaming is huge. So please go check it out. And then I think after that, it's going to be expanding even more. And there are some drive-ins also playing Mighty Oak around the country, which is so cool. And I wish that we had a drive-in on Maui because I would make sure that we were playing it, but we don't.
Not yet.
No.
Not yet.
Okay, do you know what?
We should make our own drive-in.
No.
PenaVega drive-in on Maui.
Hold on. Actually, okay, because I can't stop thinking about it. And I have to, and you whether you want to edit it or not, but I have to say this. I actually disagree with my last statement in the sense that I'm like, it's not a race. Because what I actually mean is I don't think we should overwhelm ourselves to try to do everything at once. I do actually believe life is a race. So I don't know why I said it's not a race, but it's not. I want to be clear. It's not a race to immediately hurry up and get all this stuff done and overwhelm yourself to where you can't enjoy and actually live life. So I don't know why I said it's not a race.
I know. What's your favorite Bible verse?
I know.
What is it?
I know.
What is it?
In a race, don't you know that in a race, all runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way as to get the prize.
Oh, so I just got chills.
Isn't that great? Run in such a way as to get the prize. But that doesn't mean like, I think that doesn't mean like abandon everything and just start running like really fast.
Experience joy.
But isn't that interesting that I said something that's very telling, you know?
But I think we needed to have this like expansion of that answer, you know?
Yes. So
beautiful.
Sorry. I know that's like probably so confusing, but I think what I really meant was like, don't overwhelm yourself. You don't have to do it all at once. So maybe that makes more sense. It's not a race, but you don't have to do it all at once.
Yeah,
I still
enjoy
stand
it.
by my answer. I think things don't matter.
Things don't matter. I'm small brain. I get a pass, okay?
Oh, this was so great. I really, really love talking to both of you. I cannot wait to watch Mighty Oak. You guys are a beautiful couple. Thank you for all that you're doing in the world, just being you.
Thank you. And thank you for allowing us to be on your show.
Yeah, and thank you for promoting the movie. We cannot wait for everyone to see it. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
We'll see you later.
You've been listening to the Motherhood Unstressed podcast, and I'm your host, Liz Carlisle. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you love this episode, please share it out on your social media, Instagram stories, and tag us at Motherhood Unstressed so we can share it back out and keep the conversation going on these important topics. Also, make sure that you subscribe so that you never miss out on an interview with an amazing guest or our weekly guided meditations every Wednesday. This episode is sponsored by Motherhood Unstressed CBD. This is my line of organic, USA-grown hemp that was specifically designed to help you, the listener, battle stress and anxiety naturally. And what CBD does is it helps your body's own endocannabinoid system function better. So you're sleeping better, you're experiencing less stress and anxiety, and you're able to get everything done with an overall feeling of security, of groundedness, of calm. So if you would like that in your life, head on over to motherhoodunstressed.com, click the shop tab, and use the code podcast to save.